Science of Training, Lesson 1. The ABCs of proper training. All right, here we go. Safety, safety, safety. My number one, I believe, every personal trainer's main goal is to not injure their client. I see so many people get injured from programs that are way too intense, way too hard for their level of fitness, for their age, whatever. If you're not in amazing shape, there are certain workouts you should never do. And most people don't realize that because they think the harder you work, the more you sweat, the harder you work, the more you sweat, it creates to weight loss. And I always tell people, you can lose weight and never go to the gym. All you gotta do is watch your eating. So weight loss has nothing to do with how hard you work. And if you're not eating properly, I don't care how hard you work, you can't outwork a diet that's not working, that's not supposed to help you lose weight. A lot of diets that people do aren't designed to help you lose weight. They're designed to just eliminate things from your diet temporarily. Yeah, you're gonna lose some weight, but you're gonna get it right back. The proper diet and the proper training, the weight doesn't come back and you don't get injured. So my main focus is safety, safety, safety. And one of the ways that prevents you from creating injury is proper form. As you can see in this picture, she's showing him where his knee should be, where his hip should be. He's looking at his chest. If you look at his posture right now, his chest is up high, his head is up high, his shoulders are in the right position, his leg, everything is perfect. It's a great picture. And when you train, you're supposed to be in certain positions. When you lay on a bench, your shoulders should be back, your chest should be up into your chest, and your core should be pulled in. Your navel, pull to your spine and squeeze, lift your chest, and keep your shoulders back. And they should be in that position every single exercise you do. When you squat, you should be in that position. When you bench press, you should be in that position. When you do curls, when you do triceps, shoulders, everything you do, your posture, there's a posture for that position. And it's always pulling your navel in, lifting your chest up, and keeping your shoulders back, okay? That's basically the anatomical position, except the anatomical position, you also have your arms hands kind of facing forward, but down by your sides. But you're not gonna, that's like doing a curl. The only position that's the anatomical position is doing like a barbell curl or a dumbbell curl, because your hands are that way. But otherwise, besides your hands being that way, it's the basic anatomical position. And the reason that having correct form creates faster results, as you see right here, is because when you're doing things right, you actually affect the muscle you think you're trying to affect. Notice what I said? It affects the muscle you think you're trying to affect. And I'll give you some examples. I've had many people over the years come up to me in the gym and say, hey, Idris, man, I'm trying to get my biceps like yours. I don't know how to do it. I go, well, first of all, you're not me, so you're not going to get your biceps like me, but you can get your own biceps. So let's talk about that. And when they talk to you and I say, first thing I'll say is, okay, what are you doing? Oh, I do curls, I do this, I do that. I go, okay, let me watch, let me see you. So I'll watch them and I see right away, they're leaning back, they're using their lower back to lift the weights, they're taking their elbows and moving them in positions that are creating their shoulders to take over the movement. So even though they're doing a bicep curl, they're using 3 or 4 muscles that they should not be using to assist in that movement, so that their biceps are never truly getting the workout. And this happens across the gym. I can look across the gym, and a lot of my clients can look across and they go, you know what, now that I'm training with you, everyone is doing it wrong. I said, yeah, that's why 80 to 85% of people that go to gyms don't change. They make no change because they don't actually understand. It's not what it looks like, it's how it feels. And you see people looking in the mirror, and that's why the mirror is a joke. Because the mirror just, yeah, okay, my hands are down, now they're up at 90 degrees, now they're back down, now they're back up, now they're down to 180. When you do a curl that way, you're not thinking about, are my shoulders back? Is my chest up? Are my abs in? Are my knees back? Am I isometrically squeezing the muscle? Or am I just lifting the weight? Because squeezing the weight up with your muscle and lifting the weight are 2 different things. So proper form is everything. So remember, when you're lifting, chest up, abs tight, shoulders back, chin up, and every time you lift, whether you're squatting, when you're coming up on the squat, when you're pushing on the bench, when you're curling up with the biceps, triceps, when you're pushing down with the triceps, ask yourself, how intense am I feeling this? Am I really feeling this, or am I just forcing the weight down, throwing it around, or am I working the weight to the bottom and controlling the weight on the way up? A big mistake people make is they don't control the weight on the way up. They throw it down and let it fly up on its own. You're supposed to control both ways, eccentric and concentric. You're supposed to control the positive when you push and the negative on the way up. And believe it or not, most of the work is not done when you push. It's usually done on the return. So when you return the weight to the first position, controlling that negative is where all the work is done. That's how your muscle develops. And how big your muscle gets dictates is how you eat. So you eat to grow and you eat to shrink. Most people think lifting weights makes you bigger. No, eating makes you bigger. Okay. If you lifted weights and never ate a meal, you would just dry up and fly away. Okay? Eating food is the only thing on the planet Earth. You have to ingest, something has to go inside your body for you to gain weight. Okay. So lifting weight is a calorie burner, eating is a weight gainer and weight loser. Okay. So proper form is a must. So remember that when it comes to form: chest up, shoulders back, abs pulled in, and basically take your navel and just pull it to your spine and hold it, and don't hold your breath. When you're lifting, little pants. Just like that, just in through the nose, out through the mouth, keeping your navel pulled in, chest up high, shoulders back, chin up. That's proper form. Next, choosing the correct training technique. This girl right here is doing CrossFit type work, okay? This is high intensity, okay? High intensity. I love all sorts of fitness regimens, but certain things are not for everybody, okay? If you're Mrs. Smith, 50-something, 60-something years old, just wants to get in shape, you do not need to be doing CrossFit, okay? It is way too hard. It's way too damaging on the muscles. It's way too repetitive. And your muscles and tendons are not designed to do that. Women over the age of 50 do not have the density in their bones to deal with a lot of this style of training unless they've been lifting weights for a while. Most women, because they do not focus on lifting weights, they focused on cardio and dieting all the time. As they start to hit perimenopause and menopause, you start to get porous bones because of your estrogen. And no one is telling anyone this, so I'm telling you. Because of menopause, your bones become brittle, okay? And 1 out of 2 women over 50 are going to break a bone when they fall or get injured because of this. The people who don't break bones are people who actually have strong bones, like people who lift weight, okay? Lifting weight creates the pulling of the tendons on the bone, and the bone makes more bone when it's irritated. That's why they call them bone spurs, but it's not really a spur, it's really a prominence. It just gets a little bigger and it's smooth and the tendon runs over it and you can feel it until the tendon wears out and then it snaps or what have you. So bone, the irritating you bone creates thicker, stronger bones. And that's what weightlifting does. It creates stronger, thicker bones, and that prevents people from breaking bones when they get older. I will give you an example. I had a client, he was a judge, 61 years old. Before I saw him, he was 220 pounds, 5'4", and his face was red and he looked pretty bad. When he came to me, he had lost a little bit of weight, but he had told me that he almost had a stroke while on the bench. And the doctor told him, it's a good thing you left that environment, because if you stayed there and those blood vessels tightened up on you, who knows what would have happened, how much information you would have lost from your brain from having that stroke. So he comes to me and I said, okay, well, let's go ahead and get you stronger. The key to life in everything, especially as you get older, is strength. If you're not strong, you can't do anything. You can't walk anywhere. You can't pick up anything. You can't travel. You can't stand. You can't do, your life becomes the couch in the supermarket and a wheel in a cart. That's your whole life. And a lot of people live that life for many, many, many years, not just 1 or 2, many, many years. So choosing the correct training program is vital. I mean, it is vital to have success. You can't do workouts that you're not geared to do. Now, you can start on a program and build it up to the point where you want to do something like CrossFit, of course. But if you never worked out before, you don't understand technique, your muscles have never been stressed, your bones have never been stressed like that, you don't start out with CrossFit. You start out with basic techniques, understanding how strong you can be, learning how to eat, basic techniques, okay? So choosing the correct training program is super important, and we will do that. We will talk about what your goals are, what your history is, and how we will start. And as you go through your journey, you will change as you, okay, now I can do this. Now I can do this. Now I can do this. And you'll move up as your body and your progress dictates. How your body and your progress dictates, okay? Avoid injuries for lifelong success. There is nothing worse than getting injured and having to stop working out for 2, 3, 4 months. That can derail anybody, okay? And some people get injuries that last a lifetime. I have an injury because of a drunk driver hitting me at a red light back in 1987. And I didn't know it at the time, but it cracked my vertebrae, my C3 through C6. And over the years, it deteriorated. And finally, 30 years later, in 2017, my neck snapped, broke, paralyzed my right shoulder, ended my body. It had ended my bodybuilding career 10 years because I was having issues and didn't even know it. So injuries are the worst. And I had been working out my entire life until 2017. And then I couldn't work out for like 2 or 3 years because of these injuries. And trust me, that was very, very difficult to live your whole life one way. And all of a sudden, you realize a drunk driver 30 years ago changed your life and you didn't know it was going to happen. So I had a very, very bad one. I'm not really hoping, I'm hoping you guys don't have nothing that bad, but I know a lot of people over 50 and we're all experiencing different things. I just had a friend who passed away. So from cancer in a month. So anything can happen, right? Let's avoid injuries. Let's avoid that by being intelligent with our training, making sure we move up intelligently, try to get as strong as you physically can, but in an intelligent way. So what we're going to do with our program is we're going to start out where you're doing everything the right way. And as you get stronger, you will move up without me even saying anything. I'll give you an example. I have a client named Nancy, and Nancy at the time was 63 years old when I was still living in California about 3 years ago, 2019. And she came to me and she said, hey, I'm tired. I work in a jewelry store and I stand for 3 hours and I'm tired. She goes, I shouldn't be tired for standing for 3 hours. So we started working out, and she was funny because she didn't see she knew me. I don't know how, I forget, somebody recommended, I forget how she found me, but she hired me, and then she looked for me online, and then she saw all my pictures from my competition days and the titles, and she got a little nervous, a little scared because she was like, oh my God, he's going to kill me. And I said, I know I look crazy, but honestly, I'm not. So I said, trust me, you will ask to do more before I ask you to. She goes, really? I go, trust me, you'll ask before I do. And that's exactly what happened. 3 weeks into it, she didn't realize that I saw her doing more. I saw her, I was like, wow, she's getting strong pretty quick. She all of a sudden out of nowhere says, hey, Idris, we did I think we did 10, 15 reps, something like that. She goes, can I do more? And I go, what? She goes, I want to do more. And I just started laughing. I go, sure, you could let's do 5 more. She did 5 more. Next set, we did 20 reps, and we did 20 reps. And I go, Nancy, remember 3 weeks ago when we first started, I said, you'll ask to do more before I ask you to. She was like, oh my God, you were right. So it'll happen by accident. No, it's not by accident. You're actually doing the work, but you won't even realize. None of my clients realize how much stronger they are than when I start with them. I notice it because I know what I'm doing. I'm like, wow, I got to push them a little harder. Wow, they got to do more weight. Wow, they did that pretty good. Wow. But I don't say it to them all the time. I just keep moving them up because I want them to notice it. Because I want them to be proud of themselves. I want them to look back and go, wow, I couldn't do any push-ups 4 weeks ago. Now I'm doing 5. I couldn't do any 2 months ago. Now I'm doing 15. I have a client, Bailey, who could barely do 10 could barely do any push-ups when I met her. And now then she did some, months and months later, she did 100 at her little boot camp, group that she hangs out with, her CrossFit group, 100 push-ups. She couldn't do any when we met. So this is what's so cool about working out. You're so proud of yourself, and you're so happy about the progress you've made because you did the work. So we don't want injuries because all they do is set us back, and it's so frustrating to get set back. So keep that in mind. Form is everything, starting the workout program and doing a program that's right for your fitness level at the time, and then you increase, and avoid injuries by doing silly things like grabbing a weight over your shoulder. Or a lot of times our client will finish a set and then they'll just drop the weight. They'll lean forward instead of using their legs to put the weight down. They'll just lean over and I have to catch them. Don't lean over, use your legs. They'll lay on a bench and reach behind them on the floor and pull a weight up. I'm like, don't. Sit up or stand up, grab them, sit down, put them on your lap and lean back. Because if you just reach, you can tear something in your shoulder because you're not paying attention. You're not using form when you reach. Remember this, guys. Most people hurt themselves at home, at work, driving a car. They don't hurt themselves in the gym because in the gym, you're paying attention to what you're doing. At home, you just reach across the couch and grab something heavy. And next thing you know, you pull a rib, okay? Or you pick up the dog in an awkward way and you hurt yourself. And most people never get hurt in the gym. They usually get hurt at home. So avoid injuries for lifelong success. This is a great section. I hope you guys really, really, really appreciate and really study this session. Listen to this session a few times, and you will start to realize the form. You get fat, you see results much faster, you get stronger quicker, and you will never get injured, and you will continue to truck down the roadway to your final goal with no problems. See you in the next lesson.